Hi, this is Adam Goldberg, Chief Innovation Officer and co-founder of Clear Sailing. Recently, we conducted the Attribution Management Forum, where we pulled leading online marketers about various attribution management scenarios in an effort to provide answers for best practices and methodologies in online advertising. We have 5 categories across various online advertising sources that were discussed during the forum. This video highlights the first category, paid search environment and attribution, as well as the results that we received during the forum. In this first scenario, we are showing an example of a consumer that searches for running shoes and clicks on a finish line ad for running shoes. They then refine their search further to look for women's Nike Shox and then click on a finish line ad again. They do a final search, this time for Nike Shox Turbo 7, click on the finish line ad, and make a purchase. The attribution models we've provided offer a few different ways in which to attribute the revenue. In Attribution Rule A, you would be allocating the profit, revenue, and conversion credit across all ads involved in the purchase equally. The argument for this rule is that every ad involved in the sale is equally important and therefore deserves equal credit. In Attribution Rule B, we are giving 100% credit to the initial ad that introduced the consumer to the business. The logic for doing this is that without appearing on the first ad, the other ads might not have had a chance to play. Therefore, all the credit should go to the ad that introduced the searcher to your business. And in Attribution Rule C, you're giving 100% credit to the last ad that was clicked on prior to the conversion. The argument for doing this is that you're giving credit to the ad that seems most directly responsible for the conversion. Well, after proposing this scenario during the forum, we found the majority of all groups voted for the even attribution model. This slide shows that the majority of agencies, people in the B2B space and B2C space, along with the aggregate of participants, believe that an even attribution model is the best way to allocate credit for an online sale. We also polled the participants to discover if they have tools that would allow them to perform attribution management, upon which we were able to understand their level of experience with this practice. The results for the poll listed as no for the participants that do not have the tools needed. The results for this poll listed as yes, but could be better, is for participants with some level of tracking. And the results for the poll listed as yes, works well, have the highest level of sophistication with this practice. The results show that all levels of experience with attribution agree that even is the best model. And if you're not doing that today, it is certainly something that you need to look into. In the next scenario, the consumer searches for running shoes and clicks on a finish line ad. They then refine their search further to look for women's Nike Shox and again click on a finish line ad. The consumer then goes back to the search engine and searches for the branded term finish line and clicks on their sponsored link. In Attribution Rule A, you would be allocating the profit and revenue and conversion credit across all ads involved in a purchase equally. The argument for this rule is that every ad involved in the sale is equally important and therefore deserves equal credit. In Attribution Rule B, you are choosing to exclude giving credit to the branded term at the end of the purchase path. The argument for this rule is that when a consumer types a branded search at the end of a purchase path, they are likely trying to navigate back to the site that they've already decided to buy from. Therefore, it makes sense to give profit, revenue, and conversion credit to the ads that did the selling rather than the ad that was used to navigate. It can also be argued that this consumer could have just as easily navigated back to the website through the address bar, an organic link, or through a bookmark. We found some interesting results from the polling that did not provide a consensus throughout the participants. However, when we go and look at the experience level of the participants, those with the most experience overwhelmingly agree that Model B, which excludes giving credit to the branded ad, is the proper model. In the third scenario, the consumer does a search on a comparison shopping engine, or CSE as we would call it, and clicks on an ad for the finish line. They then leave the CSE, go to a search engine, type in the company's name, click on a sponsored link, and convert. In Attribution Rule A, you would be allocating the profit, revenue, and conversion credit across all the ads involved in the purchase equally. The argument for this rule is that every ad involved in the sale is equally important and therefore deserves equal credit. In Attribution Rule B, you're giving 100% of the credit to the comparison shopping engine. The argument for doing this is that you're giving credit to the ad that seems most directly responsible for the conversion versus also crediting a branded ad that was likely just used for navigational purposes. With these results, you would assume that the answers would be very similar to those in Poll 2. However, more people felt that the branded search deserved a bigger portion of the credit than in the previous poll in which a branded search term was used. We were surprised at these results and would disagree given our experience. We found that comparison shopping engines are great introducers and that brands serve as closers more often. Very often comparison shopping engines seem to get slighted because this practice is very common amongst those that use them. In the fourth scenario, which is the last one that we're going to be presenting today in the paid search environment and attribution, is an example where a consumer searches for running shoes. They then click on an ad for the finish line, but do not make a purchase. They then type in the term Nike Shox Women's, click on a finish line ad again, and still do not make a purchase. Lastly, they use the same search term as before, which is Nike Shox Women's, found the finish line ad again, clicked on it, and completed the purchase. In Attribution Rule A, credit is given to the last search ad clicked before the sale. In Attribution Rule B, there are 3 ads, and there is no differentiation between them. All the ads assisted in making the sale, therefore credit is being distributed evenly among all 3. And in Attribution Rule C, since the same search term was used twice, you might conclude that the second time it was used was for navigational purposes. Therefore, the third search term is excluded from getting credit, and it is just, the credit therefore is distributed amongst the first 2 ads. Now, most of the groups that voted chose to not give credit to the use of the second search term. And when we take a look at the experienced level, when we look at the most experienced group, what we find is that they agree with Rule C, which excludes giving credit from the second term is the most proper way, in their belief, to give proper credit when the same search term is used twice. If you would like more information about these scenarios or attribution management in general, please visit www.attributionmanagement.com. Thanks for your time, and be sure to check out our upcoming videos about the remaining attribution scenarios. Take care and have a great day.